Hey guys, it's Hollyhock. Now, this is my first story time, so this is probably gonna be very boring. So, I'm deciding to chuck in like 2 dad jokes from Google, because why not? But I'm really bad at this. Mind you, this is original dad jokes, so this is like the worst that's gonna happen. So please bear with me, I'm very bad at dad jokes. Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about my 2.5-year relationship with a YouTuber. Now, this wasn't a very long relationship, 2.5 years. Maybe even a bit longer, like 2 years and like a couple, like 6-8 months, but like it wasn't that long because, like, you know, time flies. So I won't mention his channel nor his name, but I will mention him as my old friend. So for the story, I'll call him Matt because it's similar to his other names, his real name. So we both met in the same primary, which is like elementary in America and other countries, when I was about like 9, turning 10. And he was a year older than me, but we ended up being in the same class, which was like homeroom for us. We were gonna be there for the whole year. He was friends with another friend of mine. I'll call him James. And James introduced me to Matt. Now, we avoided each other in our first moments because, you know, boys aren't comfortable with girls and girls aren't comfortable with boys. But we became closer as friends, and we were friends with another guy, like us two with another guy, so that was like a trio. And I'll call the guy Carl. Now, so Matt, Carl, and I were a trio, yeah? Me being the only girl, and that was perfectly normal for me in those years, though. Thing was, I started developing feelings for him throughout the year. Like halfway through the year, I started developing feelings. But what I didn't know is that he had feelings for me too. And James was the only one that knew at the time. He had been my friend 2 years prior. And like, I knew I could trust him. So I told him everything, and yeah. So he was like the third wheeler, more like the fourth, because Carl was the third wheeler most of the time. And one day we were on a museum trip, and towards the end we had a classroom session with a museum worker and taught us about volcanic rocks. Isn't that cool? I'm really bad at this, sorry. Anyway, James whispered in my ear, and as I went to get my stuff, he asked me, "You like him, don't you?" And I just whispered, "Yeah," back. And when I said that, he urged me to go tell Matt how I felt. But I just said I'd tell him in my own time. Wouldn't it be better to tell him now, though? It might be your only chance. I just sighed at James' comment. He was like half right. So as we exited the classroom, I pushed through the crowd to find Matt. When I did find him, I whispered in his ear, "I like you," and I left it at that. We didn't talk for the rest of the day afterward. A couple of days later, get it? I really suck at this, oh my gosh, I'll just stop. That was my last dad joke for the day, guys. I think it was like 2 days later, after the museum trip, he came to the courtyard where we talked together before I'd leave home. It was like a daily routine. So we talked for a bit, and just as my mom called me to go home, he stood on the bench with me, because I was like standing on the bench. I wasn't sitting on it, because I'm not that type of person. And he whispered in my ear, "I like you too." So we were a bit more than friends after that. Not too much to consider ourselves boyfriend and girlfriend, but like a serious crush relationship, if you guys know what I mean. That's kind of hard. Some people don't understand that sometimes, but I mostly do, because that's what I classified it to be. And the thing was, my relationship with Matt wasn't always ups. There were downs because James intervened a lot. It messed with my feelings. Like, I liked both boys, but the thing was, I had to pick only one to stay with, and the other would just be like a good friend of mine. The question posed to me every day would be, James or Matt? I was given until prize giving night, so like a couple nights before the end of the year, and I had an answer by then. I just didn't want to break anybody's heart because I chose Matt over James. I kept overthinking my decision that night, but when I woke up, I seemed more definite about my answer. James kept intervening with my feelings for Matt, but I never strayed far away from something I put so much time and effort into thinking about. Sure, we had our problems, but we spent happy days at the playground during break, that is, between all of us. When we parted ways at the end of the year, it was a question of how do we stay in touch even after all we've been through together. The following summer holidays and school years, we video called, texted, and just had a long-distance relationship. He moved far out to the west for his senior years before high school, and I stayed where I was. We stayed in touch, but Carl was completely out of the picture. Even to this day, I still can't get in touch with him. It's like he's a ghost now. But anyway, in my first year of middle school, Matt really supported me. Thing was, we grew pretty distant because then I started making friends, like my own friends in school, because, you gotta have friends. But we'd still video call every day as normal during school holidays, but when I joined Instagram and would see his stories, I had that question running inside my head. Does he even like me anymore? His friend shipped him with this other girl at school. I knew Matt well. He wouldn't be stupid enough to like her over me. But what could I do? I was living on the other side of the city at this point. Maybe it's time I let go. I grew distant from him, tired of hearing his voice for the fear that he never actually liked me. My best friend, whom I'll call Lisa, kept in contact with him though. She updated him on my feelings and what I do most of the time at school. He grew worried that he messed up something in the relationship. Thing was, it wasn't just my fear of being liked that played a part in the decision, but it was for his future. He was going to high school in the following year, and being a year older than I was and on his last year of middle school, I was worried I was causing him to get bad grades. I wanted him to have a good education, to be a happy and educated person. So that's what I told him. After a month, or maybe even more, of avoiding him, I texted him this. So he texted me this first. Claire? Hey, you there? Look, I know what happened, just please answer me. Claire, please answer me. Don't leave me here. That's when I finally texted it. Look, people change, feelings change, life falls into place differently for people. Yeah, I know, is that something I said? I choose my place, my answer is final. I like my life better as it is now, spending time with friends whenever and wherever I can, rather than focusing on a relationship that's so far away. We're still so young, yet everyone likes to rush anyway. I just had fun with them at Jump today. Yeah, and I want more memories like that. Okay, but don't worry about our relationship too much. It's over. I'm still here, and I'll always be your friend, right? Yeah, just friends. I haven't texted him that much since then, and honestly, I'm doing a lot better. He seems to be happy as well, and I'm happy for him. When I first left him, I felt really guilty, but I was only 12. I had my opinions, I had my reasons. So, for all the preteens out there who have a crush, don't heavily rely on that person you like. You should learn to love yourself first, because if you can't learn to love yourself, how can you love others? You are worth more than the photo the class took for yearbooks. You're worth more than the essays you write for school. You're worth everything. And I'd like to end with this story time with a quote that I made and that I ride by. I am me, and nothing can change that. For the world made you as your own person, not as a silhouette of another. Love yourself for all the weaknesses and strengths that make you. See you guys later. Have a good day.